Today we're going to be talking about biased versus unbiased samples. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at unbiased samples. Okay, these are unbiased because they are random. Okay, so there are three different types of random samples that we can take. A simple random sample, which would be something that's like generated by a computer, or it could be you put all the names in a hat and you draw it out, something like that, or you put all the names on a spinner and you spin to get the name of who is going to happen or whatever's going to happen. Okay, that would be a simple random sample. Now, a stratified random sample is where if you are asking about all middle schoolers, you would divide them up into sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, and then you would take like six random sixth graders, six seventh graders, and six eighth graders, and then you would pull that group that you have taken. So you break them up into groups and then you randomly take from those groups would be considered a stratified random sample. Now, a systematic random sample would be if you list all of the names, okay, and then you choose every 10th, okay, or every 8th, okay. So it's very systematic in how you do it, okay. There's a list and then you pick every so often. Or if you're doing something about a store, it would be every 10th customer who comes in. Something to that effect would be a systematic random sample. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these examples and see if we can figure out which one they are. To determine whether students have heard about a new product X, a research company surveys randomly selected students from a computer-generated list. Okay, a computer-generated list is a simple random sample. Okay, to determine whether Tuesday or Wednesday matches are more popular, a soccer club surveys 10 randomly selected season ticket holders from each of 20 nearby townships. Okay, so they break up all of their season ticket holders into townships, okay, 20 different townships. And then they take 10 from each of those townships, okay? So that is going to be a stratified, okay, where they break them up into groups um, and then choose from those groups, okay? This next one says to determine whether polar bears or tapirs should be featured in the next newsletter, a zookeeper surveys every sixth visitor who enters the front gate. Okay, this is systematic. Okay, because you're doing every sixth person who comes into the zoo. Okay, there's several more that you can try about those simple, stratified, and systematic random samples. Again, these are all random, therefore unbiased. Okay, now, the next ones we're going to look at are biased samples, okay? They are biased. So we have convenience sample or voluntary response, okay? Now, a convenience sample just means you're going to ask the people who are closest to you, okay? It's just whoever's right here, that's who I'm going to ask because that's what's easiest for me, okay? Or a voluntary response would be you say, answer this survey if you want to. Okay, that's going to be biased because people who have strong input are going to answer that survey. Okay, and typically they lean one way or another. All right, so let's take a look. To select a new mascot, all students are invited to take a survey. The responses will determine the new mascot. Okay, so only students who, it says all students are invited to, which means they don't have to, but they can, which means this is a voluntary response. Okay. And then this one says to determine how many students have access to Wi-Fi, a superintendent mails a survey to families in the district. Okay. Again, this is voluntary on whether or not they answer. Okay. And then to determine whether there is interest in starting a dog walking club in her town, Betty surveys everyone on her street. This is going to be a convenience because she is only asking people who are closest to her, and that does not represent her entire town. Okay. She would need to go to all the different places within the town in order to tell. Okay. There are three more like that that you can try on your own there. Okay. And again, those are all biased examples. Okay, now these next ones, we're going to identify the sample method used, whether it is biased or unbiased, then determine whether the inference is valid. Okay, it has to be unbiased in order for it to be valid. Okay, so to evaluate whether customers enjoy the barista's new smoothie, a restaurant manager surveys every other customer who orders the new smoothie. The manager determines that customers enjoy the new smoothie. Okay, this would be a systematic survey because you're doing every other person who orders the smoothie, okay, and asking them whether they like the new smoothie or not. Okay, so this would be systematic, which is random, which means it would be unbiased, okay, which means yes, it would be valid. Okay. To determine the destination of senior class trips, the class president pulls her senior friends from the lacrosse team. She finds an amusement park that is the preferred destination. So she's a senior. She only asks, oh, it's a senior class trip, and she only asks the lacrosse team. Okay, so this is a convenience. Okay, because she's just asking the people that are closest to her that are on her team. Okay, so this is bias. Okay, she's only asking number one, her friends, and number two, the lacrosse team or athletes who would be interested in doing a one thing in particular. Okay, typically. Okay, so this would be not valid. There are a couple more that you can try on your own like that.